Hello, everybody. I'm taking a break from the usual grind of the contest, whereby I count down the favorite movies that I've seen during this decade that have been released each year. This month, the month of May, we're going to be doing my 10 favorite movies of the 80s. And if you correctly guess all 10 titles, I'll give you a prize in the form of a video, which I will make especially for you on the subject of your choosing. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to do that if you didn't have your own YouTube account. So make sure that you have one, so that I can also identify you and provide a link to your channel and give you a shout out and all that stuff. So the clues. Number 10. Number 10 is an adventure comedy. The main characters are a grocery store clerk who is somewhat socially awkward, a hotshot fighter pilot for the military, and the pilot's girlfriend who happens to be a journalist. And together the three of them team up to take down a band of criminals who deal in black market technology. Now, for reasons that I can't get into, because it would give away the movie that I'm referring to, the pilot and his girlfriend cannot communicate with each other directly. It is not possible. They can only communicate with each other through the grocery store clerk. This is a very exciting, very funny movie. Lots of cool stuff. And it was released in 1987 and is rated PG. Number 9. Number 9 film on my list is a drama. The main character is a local celebrity in the city of Dallas, Texas. And over the course of about 4 days, Friday through Monday, he has to deal with not only his boss and his girlfriend and his ex-wife, but also his fans and his detractors alike. Some people dislike him so much they may actually want to kill him, so he has to deal with all that. This movie is based on a play and was directed by one of the most well-regarded and controversial directors of the 80s and of the 90s, and pretty much still is pretty controversial now. It was released in 1988 and is rated R. Number 8. Number 8 is an adventure involving a young boy of about 10 or 11 and his brother and sister, and they make a new acquaintance, visitor in town, if you will, and help this individual in contacting his pals because they left him there and they need to come back and pick him up so he can go home. And while they do this, they have to avoid their new acquaintance being discovered by their mother because their new acquaintance is hiding in their house, mostly in the closet. That's not metaphorical or anything. It's a literal closet. Anyway, this is a movie that is quite beloved and was directed by one of the most successful and respected directors of this or any other era. It was released in 1982 and is rated PG. Number 7. Number 7 is a futuristic thriller. It concerns an individual, a man, who is the victim of a crime, and due to some rather unusual and no doubt physically impossible circumstances, he is able to regroup, as it were, and find and seek out those that wronged him and hold them accountable. Not only them, but their corporate financiers, as it were. This is a really kind of hardcore movie. It actually got an NC-17 for violence before it was cut down to an R. But it is, despite that, very, very fun picture, smart, clever, funny, and was released in 1987. Number 6. This is a war picture, at least it's set against the backdrop of war. The main character is a young man who is training to become a warrior of a certain kind, and is doing so under the tutelage of a very wise and skilled mentor who is teaching him how to do all kinds of fantastic and most likely physically impossible things. In addition, there's a few other characters, notably a warlord, a very evil person that he has to confront at the end. And of course, he has friends who are also freedom fighters, and they have problems of their own in another location where this war takes place. This is an adventure movie, as I said, that is what was released in 1980 and is rated PG. Number 5. As opposed to set against the backdrop of war, this is an actual war picture. let's see now. The main character is a young soldier. He spends the first half of the movie roughly training to be a soldier, and then the second half of the movie actually fighting in a war. There's a large cast of good actors in this movie. Particularly notable is a supporting character who really doesn't support all that much, as though is just lead and generally just sort of drive everything during the first half of the picture. The character actor who plays him was pretty much defined by this role, and every part he's played since then is sort of a variation on it, of a kind. In addition, I should say that this film was directed by a very highly respected and, in fact, legendary filmmaker. It was released in 1987 and is rated R. Number 4. Did I get that right? Yeah. Number 4. Number 4 is a film about a man who sees the devastation wrought by a company in his hometown. This company that has closed businesses in his hometown, and a lot of people now are unemployed. The crime rate is going up. The poverty rate is going up. So our main character, I should say, not really a character, but the main guy, the person who the film focuses on, seeks out the head of the company that has wronged his people and wishes to hold him accountable for his actions and for the destruction that he's left in his wake. This is a sad but also funny film, full of lots of very interesting characters. It was released in 1989 and is rated R. Characters, I think characters is the wrong word. Sorry, it's a documentary, okay? I probably just gave it away there, but it's a documentary. Okay, number 3. Number 3 is an adventure. The main character is a history professor at a university, and he is recruited by the American government to go abroad and find a historical artifact, one that is also being sought by one of America's adversaries, I think I should say. He goes about this in a pretty daredevilish way, and the film itself is full of chases and daring do, and it's pretty much the template for the modern day action movie. Most action movies seem to be modeled on the structure of this film. The structure of most action films seem to be modeled on it. Anyway, this film was released in 1981 and is rated PG and was directed by the guy who did number 8. Number 2. Our number 2 is, the main character is a military pilot, a bit of a hotshot, who is sent to a special school for hotshot pilots to learn how to be even more of a hotshot pilot. And along the way, he embellishes, or should I say enhances, his hot-shottedness nature by falling in love with his flight instructor, or at least, if not falling in love, then certainly, taking her to... Oh, wait a second. No, this is wrong. That's for a different list. Sorry, it's a different video. Sorry. Number 2. Number 2, the main character is a scientist. A scientist who is developing a new kind of transportation tool. And as he does so, as he's perfecting the device, his efforts are being chronicled by a journalist, a pretty lady who he has a relationship with, a fling, a romance. But then he suffers an accident, which I can't describe in too great detail, and it's kind of tragic because he finds himself in a really tight spot, a spot that no one in the entire history of any science experiment has ever found himself in, except in other films, probably. This tragic romance was rated R and was released in 1986. Actually, it still is rated R, unless they've changed it. Maybe it's PG-13 now, but I think there's too much sex in it. Number 1. My number 1 favorite movie of the 80s also has a scientist as one of the main characters, but the central character is a high school student who has kind of an unhappy home life, and due to some unusual and no doubt physically impossible circumstances, he is able to take on an alternate persona and interact with his parents in such a manner that they are not aware who he really is, and is thusly able to influence them, especially his father, in a positive way, so that circumstances for him and them and everyone concerned turn out for the better. This is a very funny and well-written film, very clever, and just delightful, actually. That's why it's number one. It was rated PG and was released in 1985. So there are your clues. I will post the answers along with any potential winners on Saturday, May 30th. So please have your text comment up and available for reading before then. Thanks very much and good luck.